Just a boy turning 17. They took me away from my home in Abilene. I was sworn I'm a soldier now. I was trained to survive. And from a boy I became a man. We journeyed to a place called Nam. Spent 13 months of living in fear. They say it's over, but I'm still here.
Welcome to Stories of Sacrifice, American POW-MIA's podcast. I'm your host and lead researcher, John Bear.
Set me free.
Welcome to today's Story of Sacrifice, American POW-MIA's podcast. On March 24th, 1970, helicopters from the 170th were sent to extract a Special Forces long-range reconnaissance patrol, which was in contact with the enemy for about 14 miles inside Cambodia. Red Lead, one of two extraction helicopters, was commanded by James E. Lake. Captain Michael D. O'Donnell was the aircraft commander of one of the two cover aircraft. His crew consisted of Warrant Officer John C. Hotskin, co-pilot, Specialist 4 Rudy M. Becerra, crew chief, and Specialist 4 Bremen Gano, who was the gunner. The MACV-SOG team included First Lieutenant Jerry L. Poole, team leader, and team members Staff Sergeant John A. Bronowski and Sergeant Gary A. Harned, as well as 5 indigenous team members. The team had been in contact with the enemy all night and had been running and ambushing, but the hunter team pursuing them was relentless, and they were exhausted and could not continue to run much longer. When Lake and O'Donnell arrived at the team's location, there was no landing zone nearby, and they were unable to extract them immediately. The helicopters waited in a high orbit over the area until the team could move to a more suitable extraction point. While the helicopters were waiting, they were in radio contact with the team. After about 45 minutes in orbit, Lake received word from Lieutenant Poole that the North Vietnamese hunter team was right behind them. Red Lead made a quick trip to Dak 2 for refueling. Red 3 was left on station in case of an emergency. As Lake was returning to the site, Poole advised if the team wasn't extracted at once, it would be too late. Then at the time, Captain O'Donnell evaluated the situation and decided to pick them up. He landed on the LZ and was on the ground for about 4 minutes, and then transmitted that he had the entire team of 8 on board. The aircraft was beginning its ascent when it was hit by enemy fire, and an explosion in the aircraft was seen. The helicopter continued in flight for about 300 meters, then another explosion occurred, causing the aircraft to crash in the jungle. The second explosion was followed by a yellow flash and a cloud of black smoke billowing from the jungle. A wingman made a high-speed pass over the site and came under fire, but made it away unscathed. Lake decided to go down and see if there was a way to get to the crash site. As he neared the ground, he was met with intense ground fire from the entire area. He could not see the crash site since it was under heavy tree cover. There was no place to land and the ground fire was withering. He elected to return the extract team to Dak 2 before more aircraft were lost. The Army account concludes stating that O'Donnell's aircraft began to burn immediately upon impact. Aerial search and rescue efforts began immediately. However, no signs of life could be seen around the crash site. Because the enemy situation, attempts to insert search teams into the area were futile. SAR efforts were discontinued on April 18th. Search and rescue teams who surveyed the site reported that they did not hold much hope for survival for the men aboard, but lacked proof that they were dead. The Army declared all 7 Americans missing in action. In a poem written by Major Michael Davis O'Donnell, which was written a few months before the crash, if you are able to save them a place inside you, and save one backward glance when you are leaving, for the places they can no longer go. Be not ashamed to say you love them, though you may or may not have always. Take what they have left and what they have taught you with their dying and keep it as your own. And in that time, that when the men decide and feel safe to call the war insane, take one moment to embrace these gentle heroes you left behind. Thank you for listening to today's Story of Sacrifice.
Eagle soars above our land, flag so proudly hailed. Be proud of this America, realize we failed to bring our missing men back home, prisoners of war. And MIA's America, what are we waiting for? Bring them home, bring them home. Eagle flies in chains until we have